The United States versus Sean Combs, day 23, afternoon update. If you didn't catch my second video during the lunch break with Diddy's friend Charlucci outside of the courthouse, you should check it out because he actually explained in better detail the Kanye West situation, because I guess I had a few details wrong. However, the federal marshals at the courthouse said he was not on this list to get into the courtroom. But Charlucci said that he just didn't want to go and make a fuss or make it all about him, in the middle of a witness being questioned. So he did go into the overflow room for about 20 to 30 minutes before leaving and having lunch with Diddy's son, Christian Combs. So a couple things about Jonathan Perez, his direct testimony. He did refer to the hotel nights with Diddy and Jane as king nights. That's what they had called them, these king nights. And the prosecutor had also asked him about a FaceTime that he received on June 18th, 2024, which was the night of Diddy and Jane's awful fight when Jane got beat, essentially. And he did get a FaceTime from Diddy that was about 20 seconds, kind of frantically saying, tell her there was no girls involved or women involved in my last trip. And this, I think, was to show that, yes, this fight happened, and he FaceTimed someone in the middle of it. So there you go. And he also talked about Jonathan Perez about an iPad, a business iPad that was used at, or it was at Diddy's home, and it was used for music and whatnot, and it was kind of passed around between assistants. But Christina Coram recorded this conversation with Perez because a video was found on the business iPad of Jane having intercourse with another man while Diddy watched. And Christina, again, recorded this, asking him who else saw it. And I guess Brandon saw it, one of the other assistants, and the chef, but he didn't name the chef. He said he was trying to minimize the situation. And she essentially told him to delete it. Now, during the cross-examination, which was done by Brian Steele, he talked about this situation, and he really centered his cross around personal and professional, or personal and business, and separating these two things. And he kind of said to Jonathan Perez, well, isn't it true you work for other celebrities? You do a little bit of personal stuff for them, but not a ton, but that's normal. And he said, yeah. And then he said, well, what would you say, what's the percentage of the personal stuff you do for Mr. Combs versus the business? And he said 1% is what I do when it comes to personal stuff. And then he did bring up the iPad, and he kind of just said that Miss Coram was just trying to figure out what happened and how to make sure that this video gets deleted so that nobody sees it, and basically indicated that it was nothing nefarious. She was just trying to get to the bottom of the issue. And we saw a lot of text messages between Jonathan Perez and Jane, and it was very random. It would be them working together to set up a king night, or it would be him telling Jane that breakfast was ready for her if she was at Diddy's home. And Steele just wanted to put it out there that they communicated like this very frequently because she was at Diddy's homes a lot. And then he kind of said, did she ever feel like she was being forced to do these king nights when you were setting them up with her? Did she ever seem like she wasn't a willing participant? And he said no. He confirmed that KK tried to avoid Jane at all costs. He also made a point to say that after the raid in March of 2024 at Diddy's home, Jonathan Perez was still working for him. So he testified that Christina Coram just said to him, if you're approached by law enforcement, whatever, just tell the truth. And Brian Steele just said, yeah, and that's all she told you. No one told you to lie. No one told you to do anything else but tell the truth. And he said, yes. Now, let's see. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Now, it turns out juror number 6 most likely will be dismissed. And I say most likely because the defense strongly objected, and the judge said, if I change my mind over the weekend, I'll let you know type of thing, which I don't think is going to happen. But it turns out the judge had a chance to look at some transcripts and weigh everything. And I guess this juror had said that he lives in the Bronx with his aunt, but then told a staff member that he was living in Jersey with his girlfriend and his baby daughter, and then backpedaled before and said he just moved there, or didn't. He visits there, he stays over there because his daughter was just born and his girlfriend just moved there. And basically the judge said that he was shading his answers when he was questioned in order to stay on the jury. And the defense, Xavier Donaldson and Brian Steele raised objections, and Donaldson talked about race and again, how he was one of the only Black people on the jury. And Brian Steele also said, well, the prosecutors, they had transcripts to reference before with any inconsistent statements that were made, and now they're deciding to do this when they've already seen his expressions and this and that. And by the way, my opinion about his expressions, I know who this juror is. He's the one that always looks really stressed and kind of uncomfortable, and he's looking at the clock a lot as well. So, I mean, take that for what it is. And then there was some evidentiary issues at the end. I left a little bit early, but they were talking about KK a lot, and KK working with some attorneys on civil suits or doing things for attorneys because of these civil suits. So I just was kind of thinking, like, KK has been cooperating throughout a lot of this, perhaps. We saw some arguments about letting some evidence in about D-Rock and what else? D-Rock, and yeah, that seems to be all that I can recall right now. But I left a little bit early, so it's Friday. Okay, leave me alone.